Labor Day differently. And this is why we have called all the media houses to come and be with us. Because we know the importance of the media can never be overemphasized. For our voices to be heard, for our voices to be amplified, for us to talk about the workers, and everybody hears us, we need the media. So therefore, you are all welcome to this press conference. Here with me, you have a cross-section of the Executive Committee of the Federation of Labor Unions of the Gambia. You have the president here, Omar Sise, who is the president. You also have Mr. Ismail S. Sise, who is the national treasurer for the federation. You have Tijan Kamara he is a member of the executive committee. You also have Ronnie, who is representing the women folk. Bakadem is somewhere there. He is the communications officer, and this is why he is there with you. So without wasting any time, I'm going to invite the president of the Federation of Labor Unions of the Gambia to make a statement. Thank you.
Present here. Good morning to comrades and other dignitaries. Welcome to the Federation of the Labor Union of the Gambia. As the Secretary General says, May Day is a very important day in the workers across the world, including the press. The Federation of the Labor Union of the Gambia, bringing all unions together under one umbrella to stand, be there for the workers. Let me mention the founding father of this federation. We all know Gambia Teachers Union in this country. The General Transport Union, the Gambia Press Union, your union, the Dock Workers and Maritime Union, the Farmers Union, Tailors Union, Beggars Union, and informal economy workers. The past few months, we come together as a team, as a workers, representing the workers, to work together, to have universal voice, to represent the workers in the policy making, stand for them, work for them. My role here today is very easy, very simple. Just to inform you the vision and the mission of the Federation. The Federation is stand for to speak on behalf of all workers across the board, informal and formal, to engage with the government, to bring good policies, minimum wages, social justice, social protections, child labor, sexual harassment, in line with the international labor standards. So for that being the case, this federation was launched on the 14th of April 2026, I think 2 weeks ago. So today we are here to celebrate and commemorate the International Workers' Day. But we want to do it in another grand style. Not to gather, to march past, sport, dancing. That is, we don't believe in that such, activities. We believe today is a very important day to speak our challenges, our concern, also our achievement with it. Because workers are the backbone of the development. Invest in workers, you just invest in the national future. So for that being the case, that is why we are here today, to inform the general public. As the workers, this is your home. We are here for you. We are here to guide you people, to speak on your behalf. The challenges you are facing, the constraints, the way forward. We have experts, technocrats, who have the legal mind ground on this particular subject matters. For that being the case, take the federation as a whole. Some areas who didn't have the unions, we can guide you, work with you to establish a union, to represent your desire and your future, including civil service. It's their right to form a union, because each and everyone is going to have a challenge in terms of your working condition. But without much ado, I will share the platform with my colleague, who will go through the resolution we passed today to the government of the Gambia through Minister of Trade, Industry, Education, and Employment, demanding and inform them the condition of the workers and what we are expecting from now against next year Workers' Day. Next year Workers' Day, we want to come back to the public. That resolution, what was achieved and what left and where are we heading to. So, for that being the case, that is why we call you people to join us to inform the public accordingly. Because today is the May Day. But how many people know today is May Day? What you used to do, be at Macau Square, dancing, sport. But some people at that event, they don't receive their salary yet. Some people at the place don't even have a formal contract. Don't have even social protections. But which day are you celebrating? Are you happy with the way things are going? So this is the day for us. It's our day as a workers. So let's take it. Government is there to listen to us, to hear our workers and try to work on those issues and try to rectify and solve them. But not just there, just celebrating things are normal. Things are abnormal. So, Madam Secretary, so I think I will end up my opening remarks here and give you the floor so that we can go into detail of the resolution.
That we stand for the workers, and we're going to work diligently with all the workers to make sure that we change the narratives. But in doing that, we need to partner with all the institutions, all the relevant stakeholders, so that the narratives will change. Thank you very much for those very, very, very assuring words. I now hand over to Ismail Essise, President Gambia Teachers Union, but Treasurer of the Federation of Labour Unions in the Gambia. Ismail, please.
Good morning to our partners in the media, distinguished guests and the hardworking men and women of the Gambia, comrades of the Federation of Labour Unions in Gambia. As the President alluded to, this is a special moment for us. The Federation has been launched not long ago, and we have started things in earnest. Today, as we celebrate, or we join the global community in celebrating International Workers' Day, for over a century, this day has served as sacred, sacred reminder of the struggles and victories of the labor movement across the world. It is a day to honor the sweat and sacrifice of the workers who are the true architects of our nation. In the Gambia, every road built, every child taught in the classroom, every harvest gathered from the farms, every news that is being casted on the radio and television is a testament to the resilience of our workforce. However, we have called this press conference today because for many Gambians, May Day has come or has become a day of ceremony without substance. We are here to change that narrative. The Federation of Labour Unions, the Gambia, has moved beyond mere celebrations of May Day from being sports day to decisive action. Decisive action in the sense that we have convened this briefing to formally announce the submission of resolution number FLUGWTR 001-2026 to the government of the Gambia. We have submitted the resolution this morning. This press conference serves as our public declaration. This public declaration that the era of fragmented advocacy is over. All the unions in the Gambia, we expected them to come under the umbrella of the Federation of the Labour Union, the Gambia, so that we can advocate together, we can fight together, we can be able to face the government together and then bring up some very most important resolutions before the government in order to improve our livelihood. By presenting this resolution as a united front, we are exercising our constitutional rights to ensure that the dignity, security, and prosperity of the workers become the primary measure of our government's success. When you look at the current reality, a call for urgent reform, our briefing today highlights is going to highlight the systemic lapses to protect our most valuable national asset, that is the workers. Looking at the workers in various sectors, both formal and informal, there are so many lapses that we want to mitigate. Institutionalized poverty. The current statutory minimum wage has remained frozen while inflation soars, leaving families unable to afford basic shelter and nutrition. This is as a result of the low income that most of the workers are earning at the end of the day. The invisible majority, between 70 to 80%, according to statistics, of our workforce labors in the informal economy as market traders, domestic workers, and fishers, yet they are almost entirely excluded from the protection of the Labor Act 2023. So the resolution that we have drafted and presented to government, we want all this workforce to be included and be protected by the Labor Act. A fragile safety net social protection in the Gambia is among the lowest in the sub-region, with the National Social Security Housing Finance Corporation failing to provide unemployment benefits or coverage for informal workers. And we are calling on government to ensure something is done about that. Women face safety and equality. Women in the Gambia face systematic discrimination and sexual harassment, especially at workplace, while child labor persists in sectors like artisanal fishing and agriculture in direct violation of international law. These are all issues that we, the Federation of Labor Union in the Gambia, decided, because we cannot just jump and confront one issue at a time. We want to bring different resolutions together and present to government and give them a timeline. The resolution that we presented, the timeline is indicated, so that government will work towards that timeline in order to be able to meet the target before the next year May Day. The key pillars of the resolution we have presented to the Honorable Minister of Trade and Employment demands concrete actions on 7 critical fronts. 1, a living minimum wage. We are looking at immediate formation of a tripartite commission to establish a wage that covers healthcare, education, and housing. And that the National Assembly is inclusive. We're already talking about the government, we're talking about the various arms of government that collaborate to ensure that policies and the right laws are in place in order to be able to implement the minimum wage in the country. Universal social protection, establishment of a social protection floor to guarantee basic income security and essential health care for all residents in the Gambia. 3, formalizing the informal, amending the Labor Act to protect domestic and transport workers, ensuring they have access to weekly contracts and grievance mechanism. Not only transport workers, but all those that are in the informal sector. Most of the laws that are in place, laws are there to protect mainly workers that are in the informal sector. But the informal sector that constitutes the greater majority, between 60 to 70%, and 7 statistics will show you, are of the majority of workers in the Gambia, but mainly neglected. Most of them have been employed or appointed without even the contracts or the latest being given to them. And then the employers have the utmost authority to dismiss them or terminate their service at any given time, especially when they complain about their wages or their salary. Health and safety, operationalizing a national labor inspectorate to conduct unannounced inspections at construction sites and agricultural estates and other workplaces in order to ensure the health and safety of our workers in the country. Gender justice, enacting anti-harassment legislations and ensuring equal pay for equal work. Eradicating child labor. Looking at child labor in the country is something that is still going on. Government has endeavored a lot to ensure that child labor becomes a thing of the past, but is still persisting. We are calling for government to implement a national action plan to remove children from hazardous work and return them to classroom. Because education in the Gambia is free. Universal basic education for every citizen on the planet, and the Gambia is no exception. And we are calling on government to ensure that every child that is in the workforce, let them be returned back to the classroom to have a better future. Revitalize social dialogue. We are reactivating the National Labour Advisory Council. We are calling on government to reactivate the National Labour Advisory Council, NLAC, to ensure workers have a seat at the table so that at least they can be able to fight for their colleagues that have been affected based on impunity and so on and so forth. Closing the declaration, the Federation of Labour Union of the Gambia presented this resolution to government this morning, not as an act of confrontation, but as an invitation to partnership. Because we recognize the effort, the laudable effort government is playing towards improving the life and livelihood of all workers in the country. But we are joining the game to ensure that government is being reminded all the time around to ensure that the workforce benefits what they're supposed to have at the end of the day. We extend our hand to the government, asking for a leadership that listens and delivers. We will monitor the implementation of these demands and report back to our membership and the public annually. Workers United, Workers Protected, and the Gambia Rising, Federation of Labour Union of the Gambia. Thank you so much.
For those very brilliant words. Federation of Labour Unions, as Ismaila said, is calling for no to fragmentation of unions. We are saying all the unions should come on board and join the federation, because we know united we stand, divided we fall. And in his submission, he also said we are extending a hand to the government to come and partner with us, so that together we will change the narratives. I think he has also mentioned the resolutions that we submitted this morning, 7 very strong resolutions, where we know that if action is taken, definitely the narratives will change. I keep on talking about narrative because that is what we stand for. Federation of Labour Unions of the Gambia, we believe in democracy, we believe in accountability, we believe in transparency, and we believe in working together for a better working force. So we're going to open the floor for a few questions, and then we'll move on that way. If you have any questions, please raise your hand to ask a question, and anybody from any one of us sitting here who's comfortable to answer will answer.
Expecting government to ignore these resolutions, because these are some of the resolutions are things that government have already started working on them, but bringing them forward serve as a stark reminder to government to ensure that they need to expedite to so that the workers will be able to at least earn a standard minimum wage. Like if you look at the key pillars of the resolution, the living minimum wage is one of those that we are calling for, because that is very key. A lot of people in the domestic sector, in the informal sector, definitely the minimum wage is very, 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 very low. So we don't want to call for any confrontation like we mentioned or we stated. It's not like calling for confrontation when government failed to do X, Y, Z. But we'll continuously engage government diplomatically to ensure that at least the resolution we presented, those resolutions are being adhered to before the next May day. The narratives have changed, like she stated. We thought it wise that we have been operating in isolation. Different unions, different agenda, and then most of the time we tend to forget those that are in the informal sector. And then a lot of those in the informal sector are not unionized. They are not formalized. They did not come under one umbrella. And then even those in the formal sector, very few active unions are in the country. We're talking about the press union, we're talking about the transport union, we're talking about the teachers union. Very few. There are a lot of unions named here, they are just handbag unions. And then they don't have actual vision to be able to lead their membership to a certain level. But since we have this mindset to come together to at least form a federation, rather than all the various unions operating in different on different agenda, different times, at least we can come together and then bring up a resolution and then change the narratives from being involved in sport, because sports doesn't take workers anywhere. like the president stated in his deliberation, that the certain workers are involved in sports, maybe they have not even received their salary, or maybe they were not even paid. Others are also there, maybe the minimum wage that they are earning is very, very low. There are others there, they have other issues, in those, how to call it, work-related issues that they cannot actually solve because they don't have a way out to resolve that one. So therefore, the Federation of Labor Union, since from our inaugural meeting, we decided that we are going to do things differently from henceforth. We will continuously come up with a different style, different strategy to approach government, and then to change the entire narrative of how workers have been treated in this country. If you listen keenly to my deliberation, ending child labor is one key area that we emphasize. And that is something that has to do with the future of this country. If we have a lot of children in the streets that do not go to school, what will be the future of those children? How they started life, that's how they are going to end life. Because you are not educated, you don't go to school, neither the conventional education, the madrasa education, you are just in the street begging continuously until you grow up. You might end up being something different. So we are calling on government to look into the case of those children, and we are ready to work with government, to partner with government. That is why partnership and collaboration, I mentioned that earlier, that we are going to work with government. We are not going to confront government on anything, but we're going to work with them amicably to ensure that all these problems that we mentioned are being taken care of amicably. Children in the streets definitely is a concern for us. This is why we bring it forward as a resolution, in order to present to government to remind them that this is what is going on. Whether they know it or not, I'm sure they know it because we have a unit, on the government that's taking care of children. But not only children that are begging, but we have children in the daras that nobody, their mudirs or whatsoever will send them to go and beg in the streets. You go to Farafenye, you go to Jarasoma. These are common things that you see in the streets. And we are not happy seeing our children, the future generation of this country, to be begging in the streets. This is why we want to end it now. We want government to come up with concrete steps, and we are ready to work with them to come up with strategies how to end this particular menace in our society.
Okay, as I said, Gambia, we are not working in isolation. The Federation of Trade Union and Labor Unions of the Gambia, we are not working in isolation. Because when we launched the Federation, our international partners, they joined us. They joined us because we put out a clarion call. So now we're having to work with our international bodies, like for example, ILO, International Labour Organization. We're also working with Global International Trade Union Confederation, Africa, and so many other institutions came to support us. So immediately after this, we are going to start working on a strategic plan, we're going to start working on our action plan, etc., etc. So we have series of activities to engage. So this is just one step. We just launched on the 14th of April. And today is the 30th of April. So this thing is for now, the press conference is just to talk about our May Day celebration. We wanted to be part of the celebration. But given the fact that we launched only 2 weeks ago, when we engaged, we were told it's a bit late. So we decided to do the needful, which is present resolutions, what we believe, what we know, the things we want government to do with us. So we presented those to government, and we will follow. We will follow up. We will see the follow-ups. And I must say, when we went to meet the minister, the reception was perfect. And commitments have already been made. So we know that we are not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to work very hard to make sure that next year, or maybe even in a couple of months' time, if we call you back, we'll say, you remember we spoke about presenting resolutions. This is how far we have gone.
That is a very important question. Maybe have started this for a long time. We see people come and give statements or the views of the workers. But I think it's important to ask ourselves, who are they representing? Who prepared the resolution? On behalf of who? That's a very important question. Today, on this gathering, you have press union. I know everybody knows press union, I'm right. You have press union representing press. Teachers union represent the teachers, transport union represent transporters, dock workers, informal sector workers, beggars, farmers, tailors, you name them. This is anywhere federalism will inform. My colleagues have been said here, we have many briefcase unions in this country. They are not representing anyone. They are even not having even executives, but calling themselves as a union. Union is not about individual, it's about a group of people who have the same goal, the same agenda, representing the workers. So we want to change that narrative. That is why we believe the way things are and the way things is very different. So Federation of the Labour Union of the Gambia doesn't own by anyone. It's owned by, as far as you meet the criteria, as a union you can be joined. You cannot join as individual or as Sisakunda or Tulekunda. You join as a union representing the workers from workforce with the terms and reference, constitution and legal procedures. So today we have a very good discussion happening on the history. We all understand the gap and the within this, but we want to change the narrative. Because people who come to the media, give your resolution, end of the day, what's happened? On those resolutions, what's happened? Today, tomorrow, they need to come back to you to inform you about what was achieved and what left behind. So we know what we have been doing. We cannot force anyone, but we know today, if you do the mapping, proper mapping in this country, call the unions who have existed, have a fully functional union, not briefcase union. You will see you have limited union in this country. If you count 8, my brother, before getting 9, we will take a long time. So for that being the case, we are calling each and everyone, as far as you have agenda representing people. You have a fully functional union who have the fully executive office and whatsoever you call it, as far as the legal and principles are concerned. But not individual, hold a certificate just to enrich himself or to try to have a voice. We are not going to work like that. We are calling each and everyone to come together as a union. That's why I've been saying here, the sector didn't have a union. We can even guide them to form a union so that they can represent the workers on that particular subject matter. Today, teachers' union, we all know the role they have been in the education sector. The transport is the same, other sectors, but other areas who didn't have, we can try to guide them. But we don't want to be taking things individually or family matters or whatsoever. So Federation of Labour Union is representing the world workers. This next year, by this time, you will see the difference. I give you the assurance. As far as the SAV is concerned.
It cannot be business as usual. People have gone, they have made statements, and after the statement, what? Our doors are open. For us, the end result is that every union comes under one umbrella. We will engage, we will discuss, we will dialogue to make sure that they come. But you can take the horse to the river, but you cannot force the horse to drink the water. But we are hoping that the others will come so that we become one national center, one trade, one big union for the interest of the workers.
I think those are one of our fundamental principles. Educate our people to know their right, their legal fundamental rights. It's part of our mandate. It's one of our fundamental pillars to inform each and everyone across the workforce to know what is your right. The commercial transport workers in this country are on the General Transport Union. The General Transport is on the Gambia Federation, Gambia Labour Federation. We are already a member of the federation. So we have our mandate as a union, but federation have a different mandate, oversee all the workers. So we, in terms of their rights, their well-being, we are working on that based on the legal context. The current labor law we have in 2023 clearly stated each and everyone is supposed to have a contract, but it's not clearly stated. Even verbal is a contract under the Labor Act. We feel that is very weak. You cannot employ people verbally or dispute them verbally. So that is the role of the labor. So that's why my colleague has been saying, you need to amend some of the clause on the clause so that we can cover all the informal sector, not only drivers, even beggars, even these, informal work, economic workers, domestic workers. These are people are the backbone of our economy. Today, Gambia is celebrating development. Who made those developments? It's not the workers. 80% of the Gambian population are working in the informal sector. So protecting them is protecting national interests. So we assure you, as the federation, as a union member of the federation, we will work with the government, make sure to change the national policies, not only transport policy, not only national policies, include each and every one in this country for our future in the country. It's freedom of association. You can have thousands of unions in this country. It's freedom of association. But the most important thing, the unionism is not about the certificate. It's about the membership. Active membership. Today, let me tell you the 8 union under this federation. Maybe you can name one from the outside. You have teachers union, you have press union, you have general transport union, you have a dog workers, animal life workers union, you have bakers union, farmers union, tailors union, and informal workers. So who left? The union, you know who left?
Actually,
Everybody in it. And also those people presenting the resolution outside, ask them who are they representing from the workforce. Because the individual can prepare a resolution and submit it, but on behalf of who? Every year, as general transport, we submit our personal resolution, but this year we didn't do it. The resolution come through the federation. The federation have aligned all these resolutions and come with the final resolution on behalf of the workers. No, I think that is the international standard. That's the international best practice. It's not about Omar or Ismail, it's about the workers. At the end of the day, after submitting, you will work with your tribe of, work on those demands and see how to solve it next year. Next year, the one you call here, you give you the updates about those resolutions, that's civil resolution. What was achieved, what is not achieved. But not coming to stand in front of public, speak on yourself, and then that's the end of it. You don't believe in that. That means we fed the government people. That's why today the workers have to continue to face the government. Social protection. Most of people are journalists. But I know some journalists, I know them, we are all families. You don't have social protection. Social compensations. You know your worker have an obligation to make a submission for you, a payment for every kind of work. For your retirement. These are things we want to change. But we cannot change alone. That's why your place come board, you can see our strategies and come with national strategy because what we're going to try to adopt another place. This is the vision of the union.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Some of the things that we are talking about here, there are ILO conventions that the Gambia has already ratified. The Gambia has agreed to. If your government has agreed to something at the international level, so what is left with you as a union, a visionary a union that has vision, is to at least present resolutions and make a follow-up. We are not only going to present this resolution, we want to sit down, but we'll be making follow-ups, and we will be engaging government to sit with them and discuss, just like the way it was presented to them this morning. The entire SMT of the Ministry of Trade were seated together with the minister, and the resolutions were presented, and a lot of discussions were made there. And from this point, we will be making follow-ups. We'll go there, engage them, discuss with them, and talk to them, and we make some campaign of which you will be part of it, because we are all working together. And some of you are working in a certain media house. You don't have any social protection. If God forbid, if you happen to have an accident at work, you are not compensated. How many workers in this country have an accident while working and are not compensated? All those things are there. We want to entirely change the narratives of workers in this country. We want workers to be proud of themselves, who they are, so that they can work diligently towards their nation. Everybody have that, respect and that love for your country. Love for your country does not just emanate from the sky like that. There are certain things that has to be in place before a citizen of a country will definitely stand to say that I have love for my country, and it's demonstrated through work and so on and so on. So these are things that we want to. The other labor unions in the country, we have a lot of unions in the country, like he said, briefcase or whatsoever. But there are others that also, I think they need to go back to the Ministry of Justice and take care of their status. Because some, since time immemorial, we have registered, and I don't even know whether they are paying their tax return and so on.
Financial obligation.
For financial obligation to government and so on. All those things, these are some of the things that we just don't want to represent people out of people. We want to be action-oriented. And this is what we are manifesting today. From this press conference, since from our inauguration, work has started in earnest. That is why we sat down and came up with this thinking that we have to come up with a resolution and follow government. And like she said, and the president, when we come back here, by God's grace, May 1st, 2027, we will tell you how far we have gone with this resolution, 7 resolutions that we have presented to government. And that will indicate to you that whether we are just, how to call it, a mere, or we just give a mere, declaration or so. But we want to show to everybody that we are actually.
When the federation was launched on the 14th of April at Paradise 6 Hotel, the Honorable Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment launched the federation. So he knows us. When we were doing our registration, the Registrar General engaged us. They have a copy of our constitution and they know what we are up to. They know that we believe in what we're doing. They know we are a very strong force to be reckoned with. So therefore, that is why we have confidence to call up a press conference, because our existence is known, our existence is recognized, our existence is appreciated. So we are moving forward. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. This is the beginning. And we have told you what we stand for. We have told you what we believe in. We have told you our aims and objectives. So we are going to work towards the aims and objectives. Bringing in other unions, we are going to engage. We are going to make sure that we invite other people, other like-minded people, other people who have a similar vision. Other people, I talked about accountability, I talked about transparency, I talked about, democracy. We, in our inauguration, we also called up a Congress, bringing close to 300 people together. A Congress, they gave us a mandate. So therefore, we are on the right track, and we will continue to be on the right track. President of Bokisga, what's the president? So, Mune, xam nañ ne radio yeeg, télé yeeg, internet yeeg, yëpp ñoo fi teew tey. Gërëm nañ leen bu baax a baax. Parce que soo ootee nit ñi uyu si la, dëgg gëm nañ ne li nga def lu am solo la. Te ñun xam nañ ne mënuñoo def li ñoo def ci liggéeykat yi te fekk media bi presse bi teewul. Parce que ñun mën nañoo wax rek, waaye pour ñeneen ñi dégg suñu wax, ñeneen ñi dégg ñu, ñeneen ñi xam ñu, yéen da ngeen ci am solo torop. Moo tax ñu boole te kontaan nañ ci li ngeen ñëw. Waaye waxtaan bi coow li yëpp affaire yi liggéeykat yi la. Ñëpp xam nañ ne ëllëg àddina si yëpp moom lañ ko jagleel liggéeykat yi. Parce que xam nañ ne liggéeykat ci dëkka lu am solo la. Liggéeykat bu amul ci dëkka dina métti. Yéen ñi taxaw nii fii tey da ngeen a liggéey, ñun ñi toog fii ñu tey dañoo liggéey. So ñun ci suñu waxtaan ñu ngi tudda Federation of Labour Unions of the Gambia. Ñun juróom-ñetti mbootaay ñoo sosu pour dëgëral parce que dañ ne doole mbooloo mooy doole. Teachers Union xam nañ ne ñun ci suñu ruuxa di def suñu affaire ak teachers. Xam nañ ne Transport Union ñoom itam ñun ci seen ruuxa di def. Béykat yi ñoom itam ñi fi teew ñëpp daal ku ci nekk yaa ngi sa place yi def. Waaye ñu xam ne loolu ku nekk dina la dëgëral ci fi nga nekk. Waaye pour ñëpp bokk pour ñu dajoo pour ñu liggéey pour liggéeykat yi foog rek ñun ñëpp ñu ñëw toog ñu seet naka la ñoo saafaralee liggéeykat yi xam nañ ne léegi-léegi dafa am yu bari ñu dee jànkuwante te loolu du cay rek liggéeykat bu nekk la soo ñun pour ñu ëllëg ñeedee la ñun bi yoon demuñ bokkuñ ci affaire yi match yi waxuñ ne match dafa bon de baax na waaye dañ ne ñun dañ koo def ba ci beneen anam mooy ñu ooleen fii tey ñu waxtaan ci suba si dem nañ ñu ndaje yi ñu wax yëpp toogoon nañ ñu seet lan la liggéeykat yi soxla ñun ñëpp ñi ma tudda ñëpp dañ toog ñu seet lan la liggéeykat yi soxla ñu ne liggéeykat yi de am na ñoo xam ne sax dañoo liggéey te damay sax duñ leen fay am na ñoo xam ne dañ laa ne kaay liggéey nga ñëw liggéey duñ la ñëw sakkee pour wax la ne da nga war a liggéey ñaari fan ba da nga war a liggéey ñetti fan léegi am na ñoo xam ne dañoo dem liggéey ñu gaañu ca liggéeykaay ba seen ki leen jël liggéey sax xëy na du leen seet sax ci tëddee lopitaan loolu yëpp ñu dañ ci dee jànkuwante léegi fi mu nekk nii ñun tey dañ dem ca ministre ba parce que ëllëg mënuñoo dem bañ demee ca ministre ba ñu yóbbul ko këyit boo xam ne dañ toog seega li liggéeykat yi soxla ci juróom ñetti faana yu dëgëra te moom bañ demee toog oo na ñu moo liggéeyal yëpp ñu waxtaan ak ñu wan na ñu ne lii ñoom duñ ko jël toog dinañ ko fulal dinañ ko faydal dinañ ko seet bu baax a baax ba loo xam ne jar na sax pour ñu oo ñu dem toog ak ñoom ñu leeral ko dinañ def loolu ñun nag am nañ ci yaakaar because ñu ni tamit duñ joxe kayit rek toog doo joxe boppa doo ci laameñ kayit boobu joxe nañ ko waaye ñun bu ci nekk yaa ngi amee kayit boobu danga koo def soo xëyee suba soo gërëmee yàlla ba pare nga seet su ko defee dañoo bëgg di dem ca ministre ba di leen seet di leen laaj di leen wax su fekkee dafa def ñu toog ñu waxtaan suñ gisee loo xam ne d'accord wuñ ci o dëgg méngoowul ak ñun li ñoo laajte dinañ delluwaat ci ñoom am na ñoo xam ne nag laajte nañ ne waaw Gambia fii tuuti na waaye xam nañ ne am na ñeneen ñoo xam ne ñoom itamit li ñoo def nii dinañ ko def man xaw ma ñeneen man fi mu nekk nii suma bopp laa góob taxul ma laa bay ñun fi mu nekk nii ñun ñii suñu bopp lañ gis waaye nag dinañ yaatal mboolem koo xam ne ñun ni ñoo xalaatee ñun ni ñoo gisee ñun niñ bugg a defee ñun ci liñ gëm ñooñu tamit gëm nañ loolu dinañ leen oo ñu ñëw liggéey ak ñun parce que Gambia dafa tuuti pour xajaat loo soo ñun ñu ngi oo mboolem koo xam ne liggéeykat du sa soxla boppa de soxla liggéeykat moo la ñor nga ñëw bokk ak ñun parce que ñun dañ ne na leer li ñu gëm yëpp li ñoo liggéey yëpp dañ ko mu nekk loo xam ne njëriñu liggéeykat yi la soo ci tënka loolu leen doon di waxtaanee all the time.
teewaay bi tey seen bis la dama si lay wokasi xam na seen coono bi yëg na seen coono bi ñun document bu ñu soobee toll government mooy solution seen problème boo fa def dañ ko digga si yéen turu yore bi seen ñu boole ko tënka ko jokko nguur yi soo di leen asoone ñu ñoo nangu jiital incha allah dina def needful ñu mentionné fu nga nekk nga gis njëriñ comme tey ñu ñëpp dañoo liggéey pour fii suñu famille ba est-ce que lu ñoo am dafa méngoo ak lu ñoo dépensé suñu kër yi lii dafa am solo because nit su xëyee bàyyi njaboot si kër yi dem liggéey dafa am lu mu yaakaar pour njaboot est-ce que sa am tooroon naa li ngay dépensé ñun tey ñëpp d'accord loolu amul kon dëkk boobu naka la mën a dem kanam kon loolu mooy number one mesure bu ñu paas ñu incha allah dina assoné dina liggéey comme ñu teg tripartite committee di worker employer and the government ñu saytu ko ñu teg loo xam ne nii end of the day pour waate bi ñu fa la fay weer di nga gis ne man dëgg de nu ma liggéey de am naa loo xam ne mën naa fi soo fànne pour jànga sa wér bu yaram sa yeneen things yi social protection anti wala ko fii suma collègue wala fii te ñaata nit mooy liggéey end of the day nga xam ne yaa si am dara loolu ne social protection social security bi loolu non du li yëpp obligation la it's your fundamental right pour nga am ba amul so these are things on the ministerial resolution but inshallah the resolution here who have any further question after you can engage us you know wax fan lañ toll du nangu dara because we represent you people so lu mu mën a def rek dina make sure that ngeen yëg ko xamal ne we are here for you people after this starting from on the 14th after date tooguñ taa yu nelawuñ su anti muy fi mooy suñ kilifa bi mooy suñ secrétaire bi every day mu ñu engage su anti xata muy nii this is our advisor these are people who you know the sector for 40 years bi daan doole ngir wokasi but dinañ assurance ne amal lay yaakaar ngeen support ñu we need your support as workers we need your support and la ñu make sure ne ñu def li ku bëgg a ñëw nag soo fekkee you are working in the sector union you feel that you guys bëgg la si bokk kaay leen da leen gaay nu nga ko defee pour nga gis na ku nekk foo muntu nekka wala si àll bi la woo wala si fu muntu nekka rek pour nga sax baat mun a dégga comme su ñu ne police yi pour ñëpp du nekkul only formal aspect informal ku nekk xam ne police is for me ñu ñëpp ñu am si jëriñ kon di leen sant di leen gërëm on behalf of the federation kontaan na si trop di leen yaakaar di leen jox assurance ne ñun def nekk pour wokasi incha allah def nekk pour wokasi fii loolu laa